Hello, everybody. Only got Tim first, Lucy second. At least he gonna get up there on top. That's helping dropping you the link on the phone. I think it's a lot easier. So everybody, last night's show was one of the big shows we had in a while. So great job for all the people that's been coming back for me. Appreciate it. But we got to make sure everybody is sub to the backup channels. No one's subbing to the backup channels. Just to be on the safe side, make sure you guys, when Kay and Lisa, when they drop the link, to push the backup channel. I appreciate it because we got 1960 on this, the main one, and then another one's only 200. So we gotta get everybody over there. The one with the 200 one, okay, do you know what that one is? Yeah, the one that had the 200 subs. Because no one hasn't sub over there from yesterday. Okay. Starfire, Niall Yacht, Carol. Lori, you made it on time. All right. Yeah, Lori, if you see anybody, make sure to tell them make sure they're sub to the backup channel if you can. Because we're not getting our old names back on the backup. That's real important that we get everybody over there. Oh, yep. Time for the Christmas trees. Yep. Kay was saying, I guess I think we better do the Brown. Was the Brown channel? Shoot, I'm not sure which one we should do for the backup channel, you guys. I think that one backup channel was having trouble. I think the Brown one. Kay, do you have the Brown one? I think the Brown one was okay. JJ. Thanks, Kay. Greg, is this your first time in here? You got a question mark. We do Intel news every day, past 5 years. Welcome. Be respectful. That's all I ask. Him. I don't know, okay, we gotta be careful with Greg. I'm not sure. Might be a new one. Okay, Starfire must be coming in late. Hopefully Lisa will be in. Terry hopefully will be in. We'll go ahead and start the Telegram. Oh, I guess I don't have to log in tonight. That's cool. Oh, maybe I do. Okay, we got, let's see here. I'm going to play this one for Jacqueline. Right at the bottom here.
Look, I mean, Rowan, I've been
This one's
knocked back
about 4
twice
minutes.
on private senators' bills by this government, which on issues of debating the use of puberty blockers in childhood gender medicine, and also repealing the digital ID bill. So that's happened to me several times. I just think it's a fairly new phenomenon that we're now seeing. These sort of breaches with convention of governments not allowing these bills to pass into first reading. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. So, you know, that bill is something that's quite reasonable to debate, and the government should have let her. And look what happened in hindsight. So we spent almost an entire day inside that building talking about this issue. I refuse to participate, by the way, in censure motions. Whatever they are, I think the politics in this country spends too long talking about itself when there are serious problems out there that need to be addressed.
Absolutely, Alex. Now, Michael, you brought this to my attention. The UK's Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, she has appealed successfully against a court verdict which allowed a family in Gaza to apply for entry to the UK under a scheme devised for Ukrainian refugees. So the ruling, going unturned, would have let thousands of Gazans come to the UK as refugees. Well, there are obvious questions about Australia as well. Michael Danby.
That's why I sent it to you, Rowan, because it has obvious implications. Here is a Labor minister in the British government who is a Muslim herself, who is taking actions to preserve the safety of British citizens. Shouldn't the same be taken
Last
here?
night was a big
Especially,
show.
I mean,
get to listen to it, Samantha.
This government thinks it lives in an international silo, especially after what happened in the United States, where a person who was led into the country now looks like he's killed one of the National Guards and seriously injured another. This is a thing which serious Western democratic governments have to be consistent and serious about to protect the public good, which is their primary concern and primary responsibility. Gazans, Afghans, whoever have come in without proper security clearances need to be examined properly.
And Alex, before we go, I just want to ask you, the end of the Parliament has ended with the Liberals opposing net zero, which was fantastic. The coalition on a unity ticket there. Is immigration the next big challenge for the coalition? And what would you like to see be the outcome?
Yeah, well, Ryan, I think it is. I mean, it's obviously, it's probably the number one issue that gets raised with me these days. When I'm talking to people are concerned about the numbers. We don't really know exactly what they are, but we know they're larger than they should be. I mean, look, if you're asking me personally, I would actually like to see a moratorium on almost all but the most urgent immigration for a period of a number of years, maybe even up to 5. We think we might have had something in the order of 1.5 to 2 million people since the 2022 election, but we don't really know. This country is straining under the weight of these numbers. And look, I think this is the next battlefront, and it's something that we need to take to the election and need to show the Australian people that that's a point of difference between us and the ALP.
Absolutely. Yep, Michael Danby and Alex Antic, thanks so much for coming on The World According to Rowan Dean, and we'll speak again very soon.
Subaru is proud to be the largest automotive.
I'll play another one later, JJ.
I used to think that too.
Yeah.
But my mom read something and it kind of broke my brain. Dogs don't need long lives because we love right from the start.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Think about it. Humans spend their whole lives learning how to love. We're born knowing it. We forgive fast. We love hard. We live in the moment. No grudges, no games, just love.
Yeah. When we run to the door, when we wag our tails, that's real joy. No filters.
Exactly. Every day with our humans is a full lesson in loyalty and presence.
Yeah.
And we don't waste time pretending we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
We give everything every single day.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that dogs don't live shorter lives? We just finish our purpose faster?
Yeah. We come here to love them, right? To teach them how to be better, kinder, softer.
Mm-hmm.
And once we've done that, our soul's work is complete.
Bro, that hurts in the best way. Like maybe we're not meant to stay long, just long enough to change them.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if our life isn't long, our love is. And that's what humans carry forever.
Thought that was good.
This is on the National Mall, okay? I am not as good at streets as Nancy Drew is. She's much better at the street names. I am deficient in that area. So if you can picture this, like, it's okay.
Under 2 minutes.
Holy shit, this is insane, right? Look at the timing. They're putting up these freaking concrete walls, you guys. Okay, so just to span out where I am, I'm on the National Mall, and if you can see behind the trees right there, that's the, satanic symbol of the Washington Monument. So I was going to run down and pick up Constitution. So I'm heading towards, I'm heading towards Constitution. Constitution is right behind this wall, and I was heading towards Constitution to go up to the White House to see the fencing. Check this shit out, you guys. I can't get any closer. Dudes, the fuck. All right, I'm gonna keep running. Now I can't run straight. I don't know what street this is. Again, Nancy Drew will probably, someone will send this to Nancy Drew and, tell her that I'm, as they have been for the last 5 years, trying to pimp her thunder. Well, this just in, she lives in Maryland. I live 3 miles from here. Anyway, I digress. I don't know what street this is. I can't remember. But again, concrete wall going up on the National Mall. Again, parallel to Constitution. And I'm going to continue on. This is the 24th of September around 9:20.
Yeah, really like her.
This is the 24th of September around 9:20.
damn biscuit? Spencer freaking Pratt. Y'all, Spencer has crawled out of the reality TV vault and took off his daggum crystals and rolled up them sleeves and just drop kicked Gavin Newsom straight in the polyester pantsuit of corruption. Did anybody else have Spencer Pratt or their 2025 expose Gavin snake oil empire bingo card? Because I sure the hell didn't, but baby, I'm here for it all day long. Because this man right now, he is out there calling out the biggest scam California's ever seen since Gavin's hairline started receding from accountability. $100 million. Say that with me. $100 million was raised for the wildfire victims. And what did the victims get? Cue the crickets. They have not seen not a penny. They haven't even gotten a sandwich. They didn't even give them a roll of toilet paper. They had concerts. They had celebrities up on stage just boo-hooing their eyes out. They had politicians out here just patting themselves on the back like they did something. Meanwhile, all these families just sitting over in the Palisades, sitting in the ashes with absolutely nothing but broken promises and smoke in their eyes. And y'all, Spencer Pratt's the only one out there that has a freaking backbone to say it out loud. Looking at Gavin Newsom dead in his Botox soul and said, "Where's the money, boo-boo?" And then he had the guts to even call out cow volunteers. Well, let me translate that for the ones in the way back. That's Gavin's own office. Which somehow magically they got their little government hands on the second round of that $50 million. Oh, but you got Gavin out here acting like he don't know nothing about nothing. Gavin, honey child, boo-boo, you ain't just out of touch, baby. You out of time. Because if my memory serves me correct there, Gavin, you in Bass Lake, California burned like a barbecue gone wrong. Okay, then you took the donation money like it was church tithes. Then you gave it to nonprofits, which probably bought more office snacks than actual relief. Y'all play folks dirty. So here's the tea, sweetie. Spencer Pratt ain't your Hollywood puppet no more. Because he's out here swinging harder than a drunk uncle at a family reunion. And I am backing him 1,000%. And if nobody else is going to say it, you sure hell know I will. Spencer Pratt, honey, you have been doing more for California than Gavin has ever done in his whole daggum term. Spencer, the rest of America is riding with you, buddy. Let's roast these fools like Sunday chicken. Woo!
Our one lady on TikTok. So this next one's 12 minutes. I just found it on
Y'all, what better way to start off?
Australia lady there, her channel. I don't know what it is, but it seemed like it's pretty good.
Unveils the Genesis mission, a national initiative designed to accelerate scientific and engineering breakthroughs through the power of artificial intelligence. This moment echoes the boldness of the Manhattan Project and matches the scale of the Apollo-era mobilization, as the Department of Energy is ordered to build a nationwide AI super network capable of transforming every frontier of science. It isn't political theater, but a calculated ignition of American ingenuity, pushing the nation toward an era where AI doesn't merely assist, but unleashes innovation across energy, medicine, and technology in ways the world has never seen. The Genesis mission envisions a future where quantum computers decode climate systems overnight, fusion energy becomes the clean backbone of modern civilization, and medical systems predict and neutralize diseases before symptoms appear. This initiative becomes the blueprint for solving the hardest global challenges of the century, and it sparks speculation about whether Elon Musk's Grok AI, developed under XAI, may play a major role inside this massive scientific ecosystem. While the world watches headlines, the real shift is happening in the background. The formation of a new global system emerging from fragile fiat structures into stronger, more transparent foundations that tie national innovation directly to monetary reform. At the center of this global shift lies the Genesis mission, but its influence stretches far beyond laboratories and government servers as economic reforms prepare to return historic tax refunds to citizens. These are not political favors, but economic accelerators designed to ignite entrepreneurship and financial independence, serving as restitution for decades of bureaucratic overreach. Alongside this, a far more profound change gains momentum: the revival of a gold-backed financial framework, as the administration advances a strategic return to the gold standard to anchor currencies in real, immutable value rather than the shifting sentiments of central banking policy. This return to gold means currencies will no longer float on political whim or monetary manipulation, but regain stability and trust by being tied to a tangible store of value. This shift is not nostalgic, but necessary in a time when inflation, currency erosion, and experimental digital dollars have left societies vulnerable and public confidence shaken. By rooting value again in gold, wealth becomes real instead of conceptual, and economic growth can expand on transparency rather than hidden systemic distortions, allowing innovation to flourish without the fear of devaluation's shadow looming over investment and progress. To fully grasp the acceleration behind the Genesis mission, one only needs to look at Tesla, where AI-driven autonomy has already redefined how mobility, energy efficiency, and automation blend under a single evolving technological ecosystem. Tesla's breakthroughs are a preview of what a government-backed scientific AI infrastructure could achieve, from predictive systems that create self-healing highways to energy grids that stabilize themselves before failures occur. Parallel to this technological wave, a financial revolution unfolds through XRP, Ripple's high-speed settlement asset designed for precision and instant cross-border value transfer, now perfectly aligned with the global ISO 2022 messaging standard, forming the backbone of modern financial architecture. As these standards unify, XRP naturally rises as the bridge asset capable of resolving cross-border delays and inefficiencies, enabling a new financial era built on transparency, speed, and digital trust. The Genesis mission accelerates America's financial and technological dominance by integrating AI into every layer of compliance, auditing global transactions in real time, and eliminating the slow, error-ridden friction of the SWIFT era. Payments move across borders at near zero cost, with gold-backed assurances ensuring every transfer is as solid as Fort Knox, turning disruption into destiny as finance aligns with the mission's ethos of speed, security, and verifiable transparency. At the same time, energy becomes the lifeblood of this transformation, as the Department of Energy's AI colossus searches for breakthroughs in fusion and renewables. Envisioning modular reactors spread across the heartland and AI-orchestrated solar farms capable of predicting weather patterns with uncanny accuracy. From Genesis to the grid, this movement is not merely generating power but genesising abundance, cutting foreign dependence, reviving the American dream, and through GSARA eventually extending this abundance model across the world. From the Genesis mission to historic tax refunds, from a strategic return to gold-backed monetary policy to the rise of ISO 2022 as the global financial standard, the world is shifting at high speed and leaving unmistakable markers of progress. AI laboratories hum inside national parks converted into innovation sanctuaries, refunds recalibrate retirements, gold reserves gleam again as guardians of value, and ISO standards streamline what was once a splintered financial system. Yet in moments of such rapid transition, velocity breeds vertigo, reminding us that algorithms may map the stars but cannot chart the soul. The call is to stay anchored in truth, anchored in love, and anchored in God, because the return to the gold standard demonstrates that real value endures beyond volatility, rooted in creation's unchanging laws. Love becomes the divine algorithm that ensures progress serves humanity, rather than replaces it, and God remains the ultimate architect whose original genesis brought light from the void and now guides our man-made dawn. The future is unfolding, but how we walk into it remains a spiritual choice between sprinting toward silos of self or striding in solidarity, as the mission equips the mind while faith fortifies the spirit, urging compassion to remain our compass even in boardrooms buzzing with blockchain and laboratories lit by laser fusion. AI's infinite horizon now unleashes a new era of accelerated innovation capable of solving the most complex problems of this century. And the Genesis mission embodies this audacity by forging a federal engine where AI tempers raw data into revolutionary steel. Climate catastrophes can be tackled as AI simulates carbon sequestration at planetary scale, pandemics become containable as predictive genomics outruns pathogens, and poverty erodes as blockchain gold hybrids democratize wealth with XRP functioning as the high-speed express lane. This phase is not incremental but exponential, driven by a U.S. Energy Department network that will dwarf the Apollo moonshot in scope and eclipse the Manhattan Project in stakes. Partnerships emerge as Tesla's Optimus bots join forces with Grok's reasoning to engineer habitats on hostile worlds, XRP's Rails fund and fuel new fusion facilities, and gold provides the immutable monetary backbone, ensuring investments yield lasting returns rather than temporary echoes. No great odyssey unfolds without storms, and the Genesis mission must confront AI's double-edged nature, where empowerment carries the risk of peril.
We are gardeners.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Data privacy requires gold standard encryption that is immutable and auditable. Job displacement must be countered with retraining powered by AI tutors and funded through tax refunds that become stepping stones for lifelong learning. And geopolitical tension must be softened through ISO 2022's neutral architecture paired with gold's universality, disarming the old model of dollar diplomacy. On the ethical front, humanity must anchor itself in love so that algorithms do not atrophy empathy, because intelligence without conscience becomes hollow. The vision guiding this transition insists that innovation must be paired with moral clarity, coding must be tempered with conscience, and even Grok's humor serves as a reminder that intelligence without soul is sterile. Beyond America's borders, the Genesis mission sends ripples through every continent as allies align on new AI accords, while adversaries begin auditing their arsenals to match the accelerating pace of innovation. The return of gold stabilizes global supply chains. XRP lubricates humanitarian aid flows with instant settlement, and energy exports empower the global south as nations once dependent on fragile systems suddenly gain leverage through abundance. ISO 2022 becomes the universal language of a multipolar economy where BRICS and the West transact with shared trust instead of hidden tension, and the mission's AI becomes a global good, open-sourced where appropriate and guaranteed by gold to prevent corruption or greed from distorting its purpose. The Genesis mission is not an endpoint, but an embarkation, a fusion of AI's fire with gold's gravity, Tesla's torque with XRP's velocity, energy's essence with the steadying force of faith. This journey carries us from the ignition of the introduction to the boundless horizons of innovation, all while demanding that we anchor ourselves in truth as the world accelerates. The shift is rapid, but each individual still holds the helm, rooted in truth, buoyed by love, and guided by a higher perspective. The return to the gold standard becomes the keystone crowning this cathedral of change, providing constancy amid transformation, and reminding us that while technology reshapes systems, the human heart ultimately transcends them. Walk boldly into the unfolding future, for the new era does not emerge despite God but through Him. And in this dawn of a renewed world, we are invited not merely to endure the light, but to dance in it as the Genesis becomes ours to claim.
So I wasn't sure if I should have played that, but I see a few said that was good, so I thought that was an important. That just came out.
Asked us to pass this law and to protect their kids from the harms of social media. Yeah. But Mr. Speaker, while Labor delivers, the threats to these laws have come from parliamentarians who voted for these laws to happen. Mr. Speaker, for the past 6 months, the Shadow Minister for Communications and her far-right co-conspirators have done everything they can to erode trust in the law they passed. Yesterday, coalition senators were doing the dirty work of the social media platforms, co-signing a bill to repeal the bill and throw Australian kids to the sharks. They are dog whistling about needing a digital ID to access social media, despite the fact the Senate passed a coalition amendment which prohibits platforms from requiring ID, and with any company caught forcing users to hand over their ID, facing fines of up to $10 million. And in a cosmic sign of events to come, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the Shadow Minister for Communications threw her previous coalition leader under the bus, saying that in hindsight, she probably would not have supported the law. What? There's a predictive text feel to their chaos, Mr. Speaker, but we will not accept that chaos misleads young Australians. If the current leader of the opposition supports protecting children from the harms of social media, then stand up, join the government in backing Australian parents and making sure this law is a success. Anything short of that, Mr. Speaker, is a complete capitulation to big tech and to even bigger political threats.
Well, that was another one for you. I got the TikTok lady that does, I can't remember her name. I hope she's okay. I don't know if she's good or not.
Let's go down this rabbit hole. And it all starts with these two guys right here, Gregory Hill, Kerry Thornley. These two guys, as a joke, began their own religion, and it was called Discordianism. It was based around Eris, the Greek goddess of strife and discord. It was founded after the 1963 publication of its holy book, Principia Discordia, written by those two men. These two men did it as a joke, but in the years that followed, the CIA and DARPA and other organizations liked it a lot. They came up with this Operation Mind. I'm not going to say that. It's an important practice in the Discordian religion in which all national calamities, assassinations, or conspiracies are publicly attributed to the Bavarian Illuminati, which was a 18th century secret society in an attempt to sow the culture with paranoia, which we see these days. Everything is a conspiracy. Recent ones I've seen are every celebrity that's a man is a woman and every woman is a man. And I'm not saying that's not real, but not every one of them are. Now let's go on. This operation uses many of the reoccurring themes of Discordianism, including hidden knowledge, secret societies, chaos magic, ancient cults, mysterious rituals, and conspiracy theories. Stuart Rathbone described it as a deliberate campaign of revolutionary disinformation. The most basic form of mind control is repetition. The more you hear of a conspiracy, the more you're going to believe it. Now let's talk about chaos magic. And y'all stick with me so I can explain the whole meme thing with Trump. Chaos magic is a modern tradition of magic, started in the 1970s. It drew heavily from the occult beliefs of artist Austin Osman Spare. The founding figures of chaos magic believed that other occult traditions had become too religious in character. Chaos magic teaches that the essence of magic is that perceptions are conditioned by beliefs and that the world as it is normally perceived can be changed by deliberately changing those beliefs. Chaos magicians subsequently treat belief as a tool. And with this magical system, they blend things like practical magic, quantum physics, chaos theory, and anarchism. Now let's get into memetic warfare, because they have come up with a way to make the internet a battleground, and memes are the weapons now. Memetic warfare is a modern type of information warfare and psychological warfare involving the propagation of memes on social media. While different memetic warfare shares similarities with traditional propaganda and misinformation tactics, developing into a more common tool used by government institutions and other groups to influence public opinion. A member of NATO's Strategic Communications Center of Excellence, defines memetic warfare as competition over narrative, ideas, and social control in a social media battlefield. One might think of it as a subset of information operations tailored to social media. Memes appear to function like IEDs of information warfare. Memes are used to control your ideas and emotions. The term meme was originally coined by British evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins in his 1976 book, The Selfish Gene. Dawkins used the term to describe a unit of cultural transmission or imitation. The meaning has shifted significantly in the internet age. An internet meme is a cultural item that spreads virally online, almost like a virus. They literally learned how to make a picture with some kind of script on it, symbolize something to the point where it changes things, influences people, and becomes a weapon. In the 1980s, DARPA got their hands all into this stuff. They were coming up with all kind of ways to use them in information warfare. And the guy that is literally on The Economist that says the age of chaos is using it for his own weapon. Just like with him using these Q memes. Anybody with any type of research skills have learned that Operation Trust is what this is all about. It's a psyop, but so many people are so attached to this idea that he uses it to his advantage. Because he knows if you deploy memetics correctly, you can literally summon an army of digital warriors. Do not be deceived. This is exactly what he's using it for. I say all that to say this. We have to be careful of what we believe because they have learned how to use everything against us, even conspiracy theories. If you believe everything is a conspiracy or everyone is a shapeshifter like I've seen recently, or that every man is a woman and every woman is a man, or that there's some secret person behind Q that is going to save humanity, you will always live in a state of paranoia and be drained of your hope when these things don't come true, which is exactly what Satan wants you to do. He wants you to be hopeless, paranoid. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 12 says, do not call a conspiracy what these people call a conspiracy. Do not fear what these people fear. Now, I'm just paraphrasing, but that's pretty much the gist of it. It's even in the Bible not to call everything a conspiracy. We need to stay prayed up and in our Bible so that we have discernment to tell what is real and what is not.
I hope she was okay, you guys. She does okay work.
Of their own making. Leading the chaos, Eric Swalwell, the sleazy spy snuggling Casanova who flung open the bedroom doors to Chinese operative Fang Fang and then strutted around like a peacock preaching Russian collusion. But get this, mere days after Trump's DOJ hurls him into a federal criminal meat grinder, Swalwell is already gearing up for a bombshell announcement that could either ignite his career funeral or just drag the entire Democratic circus down with him. And piling onto that inferno, Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin, he is feeling the heat as Ghislaine Maxwell attorney-client email scandal explodes. Stolen records weaponized to smear Trump. And just when you thought the fire couldn't get hotter, Katie Couric's Epstein confession drops like a hammer. Smash that like button, subscribe to the chaos, and buckle up. The Democrat Demolition Derby is just getting started. Let's begin with Jasmine Crockett, who crashed Gavin Newsom's podcast because nothing screams hardest working governor like a full-time podcaster. But folks, it was Crockett's words that hit like a gut punch. This might just eclipse Hillary's deplorables disaster. Listen to this nonsense. Democrats taking back the flag? That's rich coming from the crowd whose street parties feature flag-burning bonfires on a regular basis. And you can't claim patriot status when your playbook prioritizes illegal invaders over hardworking American families. Under Biden and Harris, they flung open the floodgates, turning our southern border into a revolving door for fentanyl and chaos. Newsflash, no borders, no country, no sovereignty, no America. And let's not forget, it's the left that keeps telling Americans they're inherently racist. Enter Exhibit A, Michelle Obama's endless grievance tour every single time. Why does race have to come up at every single event she speaks at? I mean, seriously, it's like a weekly subscription to division. Look, I don't care if your hair is curly, straight, braided. I don't even care if it's neon green. All I care about is if you're a decent human being. And maybe that's the problem she should be tackling instead of painting the majority of the country as racist villains. Now let's get back to Crockett, equally as bad. Let's drop some facts on her fairy tale. According to Gallup, Republicans are soaring in American pride. 92% say they're proud to be Americans. Democrats cratered to a pathetic 36%, their lowest ever. Like their pride is on life support. So how do we fix the left's pride paralysis? Dr. Oz has a few suggestions. Listen to this. We might also want to carve out a special premium subsection for Democrats who invent their own facts and then weaponize them like the 11th commandment. So what's the treatment? I say time to go cold turkey from the CNN, MSNBC echo chamber. Swap that drip for daylight, and the miracle side effect? An epidemic of make America great again. Fever restless hands itching to build, not burn. And speaking of fever dreams, Seattle's socialist mayor-elect is begging.
This will be part 2. Then I'm going to do the first cast video. I already saw one, and I got 2 Doug videos. And
the books on a mortgage application for his swanky $1.2 million DC mansion. But here's the thing. He's cooked either way. If Swalwell claims that place as his primary residence, which he does in DC, then he's openly thumbing his nose at the constitutional residency rules for representing California. He must have a home in California. And since he doesn't, by the rules, he should be kicked out of Congress. But if he wants to insist California is his actual home base, well then congratulations, folks. We've got mortgage fraud on our hands. Also, public records, they show zero trace of Swalwell owning or renting a home in California. This clip, remember this one? Makes a lot more sense now. The Fang Fang flinging fiasco is toast. And speaking of getting cooked, Fani Willis just took another gut punch she's not going to forget. Feast your eyes on this one. In case you forgot, this is the case where Willis was disqualified after her affair with Nathan Wade came to light. So will it survive, or will it just join the graveyard of Democrat witch hunts? I guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out. And this is wild. Workers at the Texas federal prison camp holding Ghislaine Maxwell just got fired for leaking emails where Maxwell raved about her cushy digs at federal prison camp Bryan. Clean kitchen, polite staff, no possums raining from the ceiling apparently, which begs the question, what the heck was happening in Tallahassee? But here's where it gets political. Maxwell's attorney is crazy mad that Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin, who moonlights as a full-time law professor and part-time drama queen, got his hands on those emails and blasted them to the public. In a scorcher of a statement, her attorney wrote in part, quote, "The release to the media by Congressman Raskin of Miss Maxwell's privileged client-attorney email correspondence with me is as improper as it is a denial of justice. His action should be a matter for professional disciplinary action. There have been appropriate consequences already for employees at federal prison camp Bryan. They have been terminated for improper, unauthorized access to the email system used by the Federal Bureau of Prisons to allow inmates to communicate with the outside world." Now, she basically goes on to say this is a breach of Maxwell's First, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, the ones all prisoners are afforded to, and calls Raskin's actions shocking and reprehensible. Raskin's curiosity is about as genuine as a $3 bill. I mean, he's playing dumb while the left's transparency crusade looks more like a witch hunt. If your big gotcha is that Maxwell's prison life is better than Florida's, you're probably on the losing side. But then again, we know Democrats are all about transparency. And of course, funny how that works, because all the Democrats seem to do is lie. Case in point, this gem they dropped on X. It reads, quote, "New documents show Donald Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. At the time, Trump was already president and Epstein was already a convicted sex offender." Well, that post was quickly deleted, which tells you everything you need to know. Another swing.
Okay, time for cast videos.
To the US from the third world. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover, terminate all the millions of Biden illegal admissions.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came in on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
Wow. He's letting them have
There's a
it.
law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in.
And this is all happening against the backdrop of the recent attack in D.C.
Officials saying the suspect, Ramanullah Lakanwal, drove cross-country and deliberately targeted the two guardsmen as they stood outside a busy Washington, D.C. metro station.
Man, this is
One
terrible.
guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again.
Terrible.
Another guardsman is struck several times.
And the young lady
is an
apparently
Afghan
is no
national
longer
who came
with
to
us.
the
It's very
United
sad.
States in 2021 and lives in Bellingham, Washington. He's facing 3 counts of assault with intent to kill armed. FBI Director Kash Patel saying search warrants were carried out overnight at the suspect's home
they
in
raided his
Washington
home.
State.
During that process, we seized numerous electronic devices to include cell phones, laptops, iPads, and other material that is being analyzed as we speak.
Officials say Lakanwal worked for the U.S. government in Afghanistan for a decade, including the CIA, working as a member of a partner force there. Sources telling ABC News he was a trusted member of his unit.
Wow. So he might be more than somebody who just
into the US
decided
was
to do
likely
something
part
one
of a
day.
Biden administration program that evacuated and resettled tens of thousands of Afghans.
That's crazy.
Lakanwal applied for asylum in 2024 and was granted it in April 2025.
So he
under
got
the Trump
everything
administration,
he wanted
according
from
to 3
America.
law enforcement sources.
He was
Any
given
Afghan
asylum.
that worked with the U.S. military or CIA that comes to the United States is heavily vetted to get their special immigrant visa status.
Heavily
and of course,
vetted.
come to the United
Really?
States.
Of those that are evacuated, how many of them were vetted before they got on the
Good
plane?
question.
Senator, it is our policy to
That's a simple question. How many of them were vetted before they got
Why
on the
doesn't he
plane?
want to answer this question?
out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Cannot speak to that, but it is our policy.
What do you mean I
So
can't
you
speak
can't
to
tell
that?
us how many people were vetted before they got on the plane to come to America.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're speaking of the plane to come to America, let me, if I may, Senator, explain
I feel
the
like
process.
this guy's not
because
being truthful.
we, working with our
We know
allies-
now that
Okay,
he
here's
wasn't.
a question.
Go, he's
Very
talking.
simple. Those that got on the plane.
For America, it is our policy to
Please
vet-
listen. Please listen to my question.
I apologize.
To those who got on the C-17s and other planes, how many of them were vetted before they got on the
Right.
plane
Easy question.
by American officials?
To the United States, it is our policy to vet and screen 100% of them.
So 100% of those people that
We
got
should
on
have
the
seen this
plane were
coming.
vetted.
This
That's
is
your
terrible.
testimony under oath.
It is our policy to do so.
That's not, I don't care what your policy is. I'm asking how many people were vetted before they got on the plane. Do you know the answer?
Senator,
if you don't know, just say I don't know.
This is a huge problem we are having in America. This is why we need secure borders.
Right.
This is why cities need National Guard. I saw someone tweeting today saying, oh, well, the National Guard shouldn't have been deployed, blah, blah, blah. They should have been at home with their families. You know what? Maybe if cities
Right. This happened in DC.
Chicago,
A sanctuary.
Los Angeles, maybe if they
Sanctuary.
actually had their cities under control and they didn't just have criminals running around.
Or
maybe if they
coming
didn't
there
just
like this
let
guy.
everyone into the country, we wouldn't have this problem.
Right.
And before you come at me saying, well, Trump doesn't need to deploy the National Guard everywhere, here's an idea. How
He
about we
might.
stop with these soft on crime policies where the criminals are let out after 72 hours and these sanctuary city policies where they just let everyone in without
Right.
being vetted?
This guy
At
apparently
what
drove
point is
across
enough
the
enough?
country.
Because I'm so sick and tired of seeing innocent people by people who have been in jail over 40 times. Like, at what point?
Yeah, we've
do
got
we
big
stop
crime
this
problems in this
nonsense?
country, and that's what the troops are out there to solve.
FYI, not everything is
Tell that
Trump's
to the
fault.
people who hate
Senator,
him.
I do not know if anyone boarded a plane that was not fully screened and vetted.
Can you tell me
However,
that all the people that got on the
This is
plane
crazy.
were vetted?
Absolutely, I can tell
They
you.
don't know who got on
that
the plane.
All of the individuals,
Before they got on the plane.
if I may, Senator, all of the individuals who arrived in the United States
Okay.
have been screened. and
That's
vetted.
not, listen, I'm not trying to
By
trick
who?
you. I'm trying to ask a simple
He's just
question.
asking about the plane.
We've had thousands of people that got on C-17s and flew out of the most chaotic situation I've seen since the fall of Saigon. And I'm asking you, before they got on the plane, how many of them were vetted by the United States? Can you tell me what percentage?
Senator, I would posit
He's not even playing
and
gotcha
I will
with
confirm
him.
this.
7 minutes.
That well over 99% of them
Maybe you will be
were
next.
fully screened
Over
and
99%?
vetted before they boarded a flight.
Okay.
If in fact any of
Where do you get that information from?
may I, Senator?
Sure.
If in
99%.
fact they were not,
Over
they were
99.
screened and vetted while in flight.
You do know you're under oath.
Doesn't care.
Are you telling this committee
Doesn't
under
care.
oath that 99% of the people who got on these planes in Afghanistan were vetted by our government before they got on that plane?
I want to be very clear because precision.
Because you're not.
No. Senator, if I may.
This is terrible.
You are asking me about planes from transit countries, the third countries.
I'm talking about people who got on the plane at Kabul airport.
No, I can't speak to that.
Well, that's okay. Good.
How did we not see this coming? What a disaster that has been created for our country. What a national security nightmare we're now all just waking up to as it's unfolding in our nation's capital. This is awful. And why is CNN blaming the National Guard members for what happened?
The uniform is politics extended into the public space.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, two West Virginia National Guard soldiers who
This person doesn't know what they're talking about.
had nothing to do with this person, with they did not ask to be deployed in this
So
way.
it's Trump's
and-
fault?
and
That's what CNN's saying?
military members by and large want to be left out
Right.
of politics.
Yeah.
But here they are and representing, with the American flag on their shoulder, representing politics.
No, they're not representing politics. This is horrible. How can they say this?
Those two families are going to.
How can they say this? How can they say that it's the fault of the troops who defend our country for just being on the street when they get attacked? That's ridiculous. Meanwhile, this is who's calling for an uprising.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out and get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process
What
as a
is he
citizen,
talking about?
Isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for?
No citizens are being taken anywhere.
We're here just on a simple mission given by the President of the United States. And now you have an Afghan foreign national who came into this country because Joe Biden, frankly, did one of the most stupidest things that has ever been done with the withdrawal of Afghanistan.
Right.
They brought in a bunch of Afghani nationals. Nobody was truly vetted. And now you have people in our country who now are posing a threat to the National Guard. That doesn't say anything
And
to
the
fact
rest
that
of
the
us.
same Biden administration, with the support of these 6 Democrat officials and every other Democrat on Capitol Hill, allowed our nation to
Right.
be wide open, where you had people from 184 different countries coming into the United States illegally.
Yeah.
This is outrageous. So for the National Guard and our other men and women who are just trying to do their job, now they get these 6 fools who go on social media trying to make themselves look more important than they really
Oh,
are.
yeah,
to be
telling the
frank
military
with-
to
be frank
disobey.
with you. And now their lives are at risk. This is obscene. And this is Democrat policy,
Right.
Democrat power politics that is not securing the homeland,
Nope.
not making sure our people are safe, and not valuing the men and women who put the uniform on every
Yeah,
single
they
day
hate the
to
military,
protect
man.
this nation.
They really do. They hate the troops.
What should the White House and Republicans in Congress do to go back and review that program and try to figure out if there are other problems like this lurking
Punish
in
the
that program?
people instigating it. Do that.
Well, we're doing it right now. Obviously, the deportations that President Trump has greenlighting is step 1. Step 2, obviously, was securing the country. Donald Trump has done that. The second he came back into the White House, no illegal border crossings into the United States. That's a win for the American people.
good start.
To my colleagues on Capitol Hill, it is time to reopen the investigations into the Afghanistan withdrawal and the lack of vetting of who came
Sounds
into
like there
this
was no
country.
vetting.
And every one of those people need to go somewhere. They don't need to be in the United States. If it's going back to Afghanistan, so be it. But now that we have 2 of our men and 2 of our soldiers in the hospital fighting for their lives, I mean, enough is enough. And I know
Terrible.
that there are some people in the United States saying, oh, well, we didn't want to really deport everybody. The truth of the matter
do you
is
mean?
you cannot have wide open borders.
Right.
Wide open borders lead to our country being overwhelmed in every single aspect, including safety and security.
I don't know how the open borders crowd can square the idea that illegal immigrants make America better and safer when we have situations like this happening in the country, and when it is estimated that stuff like this could happen again in the near future because so many people were let in that obviously didn't go through the proper channels one bit.
Well, I'm not going to get into the execution of the search warrants, but my staff was involved at the command post, and they have been there around the clock. We continue to seek warrants and to execute on those warrants, even as we speak, not just in Washington, the state of Washington, but in other areas around the country to get everything that we need to make sure that this prosecution
So they're searching the whole
is
country.
as factful as we need in terms of the law
To
and
find
the
out
evidence.
what this guy was up
This
to.
is a case that has touched the hearts of so many Americans, because to be gunned down on
Yeah.
the streets on the nation's holiday is an outrage. And the individual who did this will pay the ultimate price, according to the Attorney
That's
General
crazy,
Pam
man.
Bondi. As well, he should, once and if a jury returns a verdict, that we will be seeking in this case.
Madam Attorney, what is your message to elected officials like Senator
Right.
Dick Durbin and Senator Alyssa Slotkin that said that our National Guard was terrorizing
they say that, and
American
look what
cities,
happens.
that predicted that it would be the National Guard that would shoot innocent Americans, and
Total
many more
fear-mongering.
horrific comments such as that?
You know, it outrages me. And, you know, there's a part of me that thinks that the left is disappointed that the National Guard
I
didn't
know.
shoot someone.
They
But
want
the
an
truth
uprising.
is that this left-wing progressive nonsense is nothing more than fueling the flame
Right.
of division
That's
in
right.
this country. People should be grateful that the President of the United States has taken crime so seriously in this country that he is bringing in our
Right.
law enforcement partners.
And that's the thing that everybody is missing here. If somebody goes after the troops or a police officer, they are the only defense the law-abiding in this country have. And an attack on the troops who wear the flag of our country, that's an attack on all of us. It really is. And it's sad that stuff like this is happening. And the even sadder thing is that while this is happening, leading up to this event, we've got one political party out there who favors violence against those they disagree with, saying that it is the troops who represent violence, and it is law enforcement that represents lawlessness, totally turning around the truth of what needs to happen in this country to keep it safe and make sure that people who are here obeying the rules can live prosperous, happy lives. And to have this happen the day before Thanksgiving is just absolutely terrible. I'm hoping that this is the last we hear of this and that justice happens. But what do you think is going to happen? Thank you so much for.
Okay, there was only one of him today.
Painfully, maybe even dangerously, but oh, there it is.
12 minutes.
There it is. I'm simply saying that the CIA finds a way.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Whenever there is an unspeakable and unexplainable attack on the American homeland, the CIA tends to have something to do with it. Whether it's JFK's assassination, or September 11th, or the Oklahoma City bombing, or the attack on our two National Guardsmen on Thanksgiving Eve, leaving one dead and one in critical condition by an Afghan national, there's always a CIA connection. And ladies and gentlemen, we now know that this Afghan national was working for the CIA. Yeah. Now, somebody who should be so proud of this, and somebody who probably, I don't know, was the inspiration for this attack, we're not sure, was Alyssa Slotkin, who is also a CIA agent and a senator from the state of Michigan, who won her election, of course, under mysterious circumstances in that red state. But Senator Alyssa Slotkin just released this week a video attacking our American military. Is the CIA staging another color revolution here on American soil? I mean, it sure as hell seems to be. Trump has to get this organization under control. Why hasn't the CIA revoked and field stripped Alyssa Slotkin for saying and using the name of the CIA in this video. Here in this video, Alyssa Slotkin says she is a member,
Former CIA officer.
former CIA
former
officer. Okay, so what does she say then? She says that you should not follow orders. You must refuse orders, she says. Well, that's crazy. They say illegal orders. Well, what do you mean by that? They can't tell you. She's been asked in a million different interviews, have there been illegal orders? And she doesn't know what to say. Who wrote this script? Does the CIA write this script? You know, it's worth asking these kind of questions because now we are able to see the horrors that have been wrought on our nation by policies enacted by our deep state, collapsing the nation of Afghanistan. And that's what they did. They, on purpose, they let the nation of Afghanistan fail. They handed it over to the terrorists that we'd been fighting for 20 years so that they could bring over, doctors and engineers like this, who then go and kill American soldiers. And what do we know about the Afghan national who slaughtered American National Guard members? We know that he was working for the CIA. That is a matter of fact. Here we
More
go.
about the man whom authorities say was the lone gunman. DHS has identified him as 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakamal. He came to the U.S. on September 8th, 2021 under Operation Allies Welcome. Former President Biden launched the program to help vulnerable Afghans after the withdrawal of U.S. troops from the country. The president now calling for an evaluation of what he calls every single alien who came from Afghanistan, as he denounced this yesterday.
Worked for the CIA. Various government entities. Wow. Would you look at this? He even has a CIA badge. Wow. Look at that. Rank E5. This guy has a CIA badge. Look at that. The Afghan national terrorist who was shot who shot members of the National Guard and then was shot by the National Guard, the White House worked with the CIA as a member of a partner force in Kandahar, Afghanistan. Would you look at that? What is this exactly? You can see his face matches perfectly. Senior intelligence officials tells Newsmax that the bloodthirsty terrorist served for more than a decade under 3 U.S. presidents as a paid killer of Taliban jihadists for the CIA counterterrorism units. He was good at what he did. Oh, okay. He was good at killing. So let's bring him to America. President Trump confirmed this.
Say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision. and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands.
Trump nailing it. There. What do you mean vetting? Like, what are you talking about vetting? What level of vetting is going to ensure that someone who is from a culture that is incompatible with Western society, that is a matter of fact, that is a matter of provable fact. There's a matter of fact through welfare data, through data for crime, that is a fact as a function of like self-reporting. These are not societies that believe in free speech. These are not societies that believe in universal rights. These are not societies that believe in separation of church and state. These are not societies that believe in any of the cherished doctrinal beliefs of the left that they claim to hold dear. Feminism. They don't. It's totally suicidal. It's degrading our nation for power for the left. And it must stop. I'm sure Alyssa Slotkin being a CIA and the killer being CIA is just a coincidence, right? Turns out the killer and Slotkin both have extensive CIA ties. What a shocker. Yeah. National Guard opened fire on attacker. National Guard shooter served in a CIA death squad. Okay. DC killer mentally disturbed by casualties his unit caused. Oh, okay. It's a really great idea to just bring them over here. So we brought over this trained killer and mercenary, but we left our dogs. Leave the dogs and bring back the trained killer and let him loose on the streets of DC. Incredible. I wonder what could have possibly motivated the CIA asset to shoot members of the National Guard in DC. I wonder what could have given him the political permission slip to do such a thing. Does Alyssa Slotkin have any thoughts on this? Let's go ahead and listen to the messaging that Alyssa Slotkin has to tell her CIA agents in the field, right? There are no coincidences. CIA aligned Seditious Six released their video, and intel agency leaks Witkoff conversation. The CIA aligned Afghan national shoots two National Guardsmen. We are in a color revolution. That's exactly right. Worked with the CIA. Charlie making the prediction that they let Afghanistan fail in order to bring hundreds of thousands and flood America and to change the body politic permanently. Charlie proven right yet again. We must immediately expel as many Afghans as legally possible. CIA Director John Ratcliffe said the suspect came to the United States after working with the U.S. government, including the CIA. The suspect drove from Washington State to allegedly commit the attack. 29-year-old charged with firearm possession, 3 counts of assault to kill. Bureau identified 2 service members. They will be seeking the death penalty. Glad the CIA wished us all a happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't know, man. Seems pretty creepy. To me, there's a long and very well documented history of the CIA using assets to overthrow foreign governments, so why is it absurd to imagine that the CIA wouldn't use their assets to do something like this on American soil? They tried and failed multiple times to sabotage Trump. It's just a coincidence that the Afghan Muslim trained by the CIA was blocked from the White House. How many more Muslim CIA assets are in America? And are they listening to Alyssa Slotkin? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Just tell me if this CIA asset messaging out to other CIA assets seems a little bit creepy to you. Here we go.
A lot of people got upset about the video. And let me just say, they are trying to wield fear.
These videos coming out of places like Chicago, it makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning.
They are trying to wield fear.
Look, if you're going back to Nuremberg, right?
This is about who we are as Americans and how we're going to engage with people who we disagree with.
They don't want to be talking about
about the deployment of the military in our streets, the deployment of federal law enforcement in our streets. We're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. They don't want to have that public conversation because they know it goes to the heart of who we are as Americans, as a democracy. Senator Alyssa Slotkin, former CIA officer.
Want to speak directly to members of the military.
And the intelligence community can refuse illegal orders. But whether you're serving in the CIA, know that we have your back. We need you to stand up for our laws. Don't give up the ship.
Okay, that's the first one. I'm going to do the Q videos before we do the Doug videos. Where am I at here? Chico! Another dog just came down the hallway. Just stop in the middle.
That's why I did polka, 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 polka. No? Twin Lakes polka, Damavuji polka, aka Kiss Me polka, polka twist.
Well, these are songs.
Yeah.
I got the wrong one. Here we go. That's enough. He's gone. Chico, he's gone. Oh, stop.
Voted for instead of the Donald Trump that seems like he's always chasing the latest thing, right? The Donald Trump that we voted for reasons of fixing things and bringing down the establishment. I think if someone were to ask me, what is the one thing that you want Trump to do that you feel that no one else is capable of doing, and that is to drain the swamp, to expose the rats, to clean Washington up and give it back to the people. He can't do it on his own. I understand that. But when I see him making clear and concise steps to make it happen, it makes me smile. It makes me excited. I wanted to come to you guys as soon as I heard it, as soon as I read it. I was like, yes, this is it. So what am I talking about? Well, today, Donald Trump, on the heels of all of the lawfare, on the heels of all of the color revolution stuff coming down the line, we now know why the left and why the establishment has to rid themselves of Donald Trump and has to get the people focused someplace else. Today we got the answer. Donald Trump sent out a truth post and said that he is now revoking every single one of Biden's executive orders, including his pardons that were done with the auto pen. I understand those of you guys are going to say, oh, Q, stop spreading the hopium. This is absolutely not hopium. 100%. And I will tell you why this is not hopium. The reason this is not hopium is because this now puts Fauci back on the line. This now puts Liz Cheney back on the line. This now puts General Milley back on the line. It now puts Hillary Clinton back on the line. Adam Schiff, the whole litany of them who accepted pardons. Now, let me ask you something. If someone came to you and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a pardon for all of the crimes you may or may not have committed. If it's me, I'm saying I don't need a pardon. I didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? I don't want to take a pardon because it makes me look guilty. Get out of here with that. But these people accepted pardons for crimes that they supposedly did not commit. That tells me that there is a there, and somebody needs to look into it. But Donald Trump went on to say that, listen, these pardons were not done in the presence or with the president or with the president's approval, and therefore it makes the pardons, it makes the executive order signed illegally. Donald Trump went on to say that his team has found that 92% of these executive orders that were signed with the auto pen were without Biden's knowledge. We've had that to put with the Speaker, Mike Johnson's statement saying that he spoke to the president or spoke to Joe Biden and said, you know, this bill that you put on energy exports in Louisiana, it's killing my state. Why would you sign something like that? Why would you sign an executive order like that? And Biden looks at him and says, I never signed anything like that. But, Mr. President, he says, here it is right here. I never signed that. So there were bills being sent out, or executive orders, forgive me, they were being signed and sent out. Who was signing them? If we can figure that out, I think we'll be one step closer to figuring out who's been running the show or was running the show anyway. I believe that Obama was behind the curtains, but I believe that there were other forces at work, and I can't wait to figure it out. That is the answer that unlocks everything, and that is what they do not want us to find out. But the idea that now Fauci will able to be questioned, the idea that now HHS secretary will be able to be involved in hearings. Now it gets fun. Now, as my grandpa used to say, the rabbit got the gun, and I am looking forward to it. This is big. This is really big. And then Donald Trump went in and says, I know for a fact that Biden was not there, but if he comes out and says that he was, then I'm going to have him tried for perjury because I know he wasn't. So if he comes out and says he was, it's perjury time. We're sentencing him for that. Yes, this is what I voted for, y'all. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, I got the second one, I believe.
About how we're in the middle of a fifth generation war or a fifth generational warfare. How not only is Donald Trump dealing with sedition from within his country, but he's also dealing with the sedition or the misinformation warfare outside the country. Because of Donald Trump's particular attitude and behavior and showmanship, other countries are starting to use that against him, as General Flynn brought about. We can see that in the conversations that were had with Xi Jinping. Donald Trump expects leaders to do what's best for their country, but to also to do what they say they're going to do. Well, we're starting to see that because of the sedition inside the country, and because of the cozying up that the establishment, and I'm not saying Democrats because there's people on the right doing this as well, but the swamp, because of how intermeshed that they've become with the Chinese Communist Party. What we're now seeing is the Chinese Communist Party working along with the establishment in order to undermine Trump. Just a few weeks ago, Donald Trump had a conversation with Xi Jinping, said, oh, it was a great conversation. He's going to put this much money into our economy. We're going to allow so many thousands of students into our country to go to the finest of schools, that we're going to work together. And he looks forward to our two countries working together. And then shortly after that, Xi Jinping says, okay, we got him. He did what we want him to do. Now let's say we didn't do any of those things. And so then they come back and they undermine Donald Trump and make Donald Trump out to be a liar. But he brought up something that I've been talking about for so long, and many of you guys were mad at me for talking about it, saying Donald Trump has to realize who his enemies are.
Is this the same one, Kay? I can't remember if that was the same one or not. Is they're both about 5 minutes? I think this is a different one.
And who his allies are. And he has to do it extremely quickly, because I believe that there's people that Donald Trump is making enemies of that could be helpful, and there's people that Donald Trump is befriending that could be trouble in the future. But as General Flynn went on with this stark warning, he talked about how important it is that we protect all these whistleblowers. So many CIA agents, when I say we're winning, we are winning. And that's the reason why they're making this final push for this color guard revolution. And I believe that it's going to happen. And also General Flynn as well, that this is going to happen before the midterm election, similar to what they did before the presidential election in summer of 2020. Guys, this is a really, really troublesome, but also exciting time for us, because if we get it right, we will expose a lot of people. But I don't believe that exposing has begun. We're starting now to hear from people within the CIA that say that the seditious six, that they got their cues, that they got their information from John Brennan, that John Brennan was the one who gave them the script for that entire thing. So now we're starting to see former intelligence war against current intelligence. All of this within the swamp right now. The beauty of it is there are people that are on the outside looking in that are close enough to Donald Trump, like Dr. Flynn, General Flynn, who are looking at this, and they are giving a warning. We can only pray that Donald Trump is listening and Donald Trump is hearing them. Because if we do, these people will be tangled in a web unlike ever seen before. But he has said that people are coming out of the woodwork, the good guys within the system, the good guys within the three-letter agencies. Those people are coming out and they're speaking up, and they have more information against the evil than they ever have before. So we have reason to be excited. I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that was a different one, you guys. There was two, I think. Kay sent me another one. I'll play that one. Then we got two Doug, and one more Benny. Chico, settle down.
Darkness. If you guys follow there, you guys have already seen that. But this would be somewhat part two, digging a little bit deeper into this warning of the color guard revolution. And it seems to make more sense as you get deeper and as I get deeper into General Flynn's warning. His warning to Donald Trump is, Mr. President, you have to warn and let your people know that this is coming and going to be used. He's laid it out there. He laid it out that this was going to come as a false flag. And then it was going to be used, this event was going to be used as a way by which to divide the people and to cause an uprising. Now, we've already seen this work and or seen it tried, and it's been quashed several times. Is there any question why Donald Trump this term has decided to bring the National Guard in? It scared the left, and that is why the National Guard has been a sense of contention, because by bringing the National Guard in, he can actually quash a lot of these uprisings that they're trying to get started. So what are they saying? No more National Guard. You're not bringing them into this town, because if you bring them in, we can't use our forces. We can't use our radicalized lefties and our radicalized groups to start trouble. You can't use your National Guard. Then they go so far as to say, and if you are in the National Guard, don't listen to what Trump has to say. So General Flynn explained to Donald Trump and to us how Donald Trump has gone after these commodities. He went after the NGOs with Elon Musk. And he went after the money from the USAID program that was being funneled overseas. He's gone after trying to shut down the war between Russia and the Ukraine. And that was a huge, there was a lot of people who unfortunately were using that to their own benefit. That's probably the best way I can put that. And then you look at the every single day we're hearing more and more about child trafficking being halted. Hundreds and hundreds of kids all over the United States. Unfortunately, there are people who are benefiting from shipping people. There are people who were benefiting from the drug trade and the drug market. And Donald Trump has been hitting that by sinking these boats and shooting these boats out of the water. And of course, the uprising as a result of that. Think about it, guys. Why would politicians who were decent human beings, why would they be angry about Donald Trump sinking drug boats by taking out drug dealers? I thought we've been at war on drugs since Reagan. This is a war that we swore to fight. We already waged this war on drugs. So why is it a problem? Why are there people who'll even bring an issue of Donald Trump going and rescuing or his administration rescuing truckloads of children because Donald Trump is cutting into their enterprises and they don't like it? It's evil, I know. But he's cutting off their funding. He's cutting off their ability to fight. And so we see all of this evil coming from both sides. I know this sounds crazy, and I know it sounds hard to actually grasp, but we are indeed winning. But they are using psychological warfare, and unfortunately, it costs people their lives. As we can see what happened up in Washington, D.C., over Thanksgiving. So guys, I want you guys to stay prayerful, stay attentive, and realize the fact that we are winning. It might hurt a little bit, but we are indeed winning. People are fighting tooth and nail at this point, and they're not fighting because they're on top. They're fighting because they're going down a sinking ship. I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Okay, we caught up with you. I got that 185 minutes. She came out with something better than normal.
Pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no other force or effect. The auto pen is allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. He goes on to say that he believes it was Biden's staff who was using this auto pen to sign presidential memos and documents and policies and pardons, which Trump says is illegal. He then ends by saying that even if President Biden defends his own use of the auto pen, Trump believes that's a lie. And Trump says he would bring Biden up on charges of perjury. Okay, there's a lot in there, so we need to talk about it. Let me explain the facts first. Something like this would probably have to be written in some kind of executive order to take effect. President Trump probably cannot do this or declare this to be so strictly by a post on his social media page. So we can probably expect an executive order that reflects this when he gets back to Washington, D.C. Now, this doesn't mean that Trump can't do this. He probably can, especially when it comes to certain things. Now, every president, I have reported on this, has the right to end the policies of the previous president that were not passed into law by Congress. So President Trump has every right to sign an executive order saying that President Biden's executive orders and policies and memos are all over. we actually saw Trump do this on his very first day in office. He canceled dozens of Biden orders, memos, and policy by signing just one executive order. But there's one category that President Trump probably cannot touch, whether President Biden used an auto pen or not. And that is on pardons and clemency. Pardons and clemency are an explicit and unchecked power that the United States Constitution gives the President of the United States. Those things cannot be undone, even if the next president doesn't like it. Now, there are still questions about all of this, like where did President Trump get this idea that President Biden used the auto pen 92% of the time? I have no idea. The other thing you have to understand is there is nothing wrong or illegal about presidents using the auto pen. The auto pen is generally used when a president is away from the White House and cannot physically be there to sign legal documents. There's actually a 2005 legal opinion from President George W. Bush's Department of Justice that says presidents can absolutely use the auto pen as long as they are the ones directing their subordinates to use it on their behalf. And every single president since then has used the auto pen. President Bush did, President Obama did, obviously President Biden did, and President Trump himself has used the auto pen a lot, especially during his first term. Now, there's one caveat to all of this, which President Trump is laser focused on. As I said, according to that 2005 DOJ memo, while the president can use the auto pen, he has to be aware that his staff is using it and has to be the one directing them to do so, right? Obviously, the president's staff can't just use the auto pen whenever they feel like to execute documents and executive orders and pardons. President Trump has said, without any proof or evidence, by the way, that he believes President Biden didn't know his staff was using the auto pen. And therefore, Trump believes that Biden's staff were the ones who were actually approving policies and executive orders and pardons and clemency. Now, when Trump brought all of this up over the summer, Biden defended his use of the auto pen publicly, calling Trump and any Republican who says that Biden didn't know what was being signed is a liar, and then went on to say, I made every decision. Today, President Trump said that if President Biden said that again, he would be brought up on perjury charges because, of course, Trump thinks what Biden is saying is not true. Now, I'm not sure how President Trump thinks he can roll up another president on perjury charges. That's a whole different ball of wax we've never seen before. But remember, Trump can undo executive orders and memos and policies whenever he wants, whether they were signed by an auto pen or not. But when it comes to the use of auto pens for pardons and clemency, specifically, if Trump can somehow prove in a court of law, not in the court of public opinion, that President Biden was unaware that his staff was signing off on pardons and clemency with an auto pen, then perhaps those can be undone. But again, that is completely uncharted territory. And again, Trump has so far not provided a shred of evidence to prove it. And in a court of law, you need evidence, not just your feelings.
Whether you're a professional contractor or
Okay, well, Kate, that was a little better one that she had. Finally, she hasn't been coming out with any good ones lately. I got 4 videos I'm gonna be probably playing. The first one, the one guy that we played on Telegram, Kay, I think is on TikTok now. It's a 10-minute one, so I don't know when he got on that. I think it's a new one, so we come on. Okay. Yeah, I guess I won't play her that much anymore. But we got 2 Dougs still to get. But this one, so
I got some good news. I got some good news.
10 minutes.
So it's not good news that I was supposed to be on Captain Kyle later tonight. This was going to come up, but that's been postponed till looks like next Thursday. So, but I did want to put this out. I have verified with our affiliated organizations and our affiliated partners, and it appears we are ready to start installing the actual county community assembly trusts. So you're going to get some instructions that you're going to see with this notice. Now, let me give you a little insight as to how this trust works. It's a private trust. The individual who puts their property, that decides that they're going to put their real estate into this trust to seed it, will be designated as the beneficiary possessor. Every other member that becomes a member of that organization that we're going to install with the trust will be a beneficiary, not a possessor. Which means the property as a beneficiary is held in common as far as the outside world knows, but inside our organization, possession is 9/10 of the law. So you're not transferring the property to our organization. What's happening is when we do the paperwork, we do the agreement, and all the stuff's in place, there will be an appellate court, who's our U.S. Supreme Court designated air equity court. I will be the trustee for now. We will designate an administrator. You and whatever fellow members come in all at once will be the beneficiaries. The actual current owner of the property will be the possessor, beneficiary possessor. And then we will designate the mechanisms of force. And then we will go into our Stripe account, which is monitored by FinCEN, and we will actually build a specific product line that has a specific identity for our Stripe account. And that product line is designated to your assembly, and that is where you will transfer funds. And that's where all the transactions will happen so that they are recorded into our Stripe account, which is merged with our bank accounts, which is monitored by FinCEN. Okay? So there will be no sharing of multi-county organization sharing identities. This is how we're going to keep everything straight in the actual county community where it is. Okay? When we actually execute the paperwork, I will have to come there. We will execute the paperwork the way it's done, designating the trustee, the administrator, the beneficiary, the possessor, beneficiary, and all that other stuff. Anyone who puts their land in the property will become a beneficiary possessor, not just a beneficiary, because we are not taking people's land from them. And essentially what will happen is that will make the common community assembly land
You guys want me to
owners,
stop it?
okay, in common. That means it's owned common as beneficiaries.
Yeah, he doesn't make no sense on that one. He normally has better, but that one wasn't very good. Okay, let's get oh, I gotta play that one lady here. You guys will like her.
The moral? The true players bring enough stripes to go around. Give something beautiful, Sephora.
$20 on a toast. Those were the good old days. Today, we're going to be going back in time and reliving those Black Friday moments because honestly, today's deals are just random Tuesday discounts. And nobody's fighting for flat screen TVs anymore. Now they're just fighting over the next available curbside parking spot. Today, we're going back to a time when Black Friday meant crowds roaring like a stampede, people camping outside at 3 a.m., employees praying for overtime, and shoppers treating the electronics aisle like it's a battlefield. Take a stroll with me down a memory lane where Black Friday was actually on a Friday.
1,
Okay. I have been to a Victoria's Secret on Black Friday, you know, around this time. I don't remember it being this busy, and I don't remember what it was that made the crowd so big. Let's see if AI can tell us, because now I'm curious. Back in 2012, what was the Black Friday deal at Victoria's Secret that made everybody go so crazy?
In 2012, Victoria's Secret's Black Friday deal, a pink hoodie for just $25, usually $60, caused huge crowds. Plus, shoppers spending over $65 got a free tote bag, leading to a chaotic shopping experience.
People were bum rushing Victoria's Secret to pay $25 for a pink hoodie? That was the deal. That was the deal? Hey, you get to pay us $25 for a pink hoodie 13 years ago. And if you spend over $65, we'll give you a tote bag for free. That drove this crowd. I would not get out of bed to pay $25 for a freaking hoodie. Are you serious? Years ago, almost 31 years ago now, because this was 1994. Man, oh man. I actually remember going Black Friday shopping with my mom and any relatives that were in town for Thanksgiving. I don't remember it being like this, though. Maybe we were just going to all the wrong places.
You had the whole day planned. A quick Sephora stop for a little treat, then lunch with your mother-in-law.
Oh, I just got hit in the face with a bag. It's a wee fit! We have him in the back corner! Line up over here on a wee fit!
A wee fit! Man, they brought out more wee fits. Go get them. Go get them.
$20? Yeah, and then I got the last 15. Good job, Dad.
You know, with all of the crowds and all of the fighting, do you see how happy people were? Black Friday just don't hit the same. All Black Friday is online now, and it starts like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. What is the point anymore? I miss this. I miss this. I miss throwing elbows with strangers to get a new knife block. That's what I miss.
I don't need a card. I know what I want, everything. You know we got your back like chiropractic. The good keep you on service. You got that Well, you should have really reported that. That's not.
Wow, 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 wow. The crowds. I know, like, I've been in crowds like this for Black Friday, but just seeing it on video after not experiencing it for so long is just
13
wild.
minutes. I thought this was a good one to play. Being Black Friday.
Anybody else starting to feel claustrophobic? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Everybody's so happy. Everybody's so happy that I'm gonna go get the nail. I'm gonna go get the nail.
We'd like to ask everyone, please remain calm. Conduct yourselves as calm shoppers, and please just be patient with us as we go through the day. Again, 5 more minutes till Glenn starts. Thank you very much.
7:30 a.m. on Black Friday. And where is everybody?
Yep. See, that's the difference. That's the difference. 20 years. That's the difference 20 years makes.
Where are they? Here goes the deals. And no people.
Because everybody's doing it online now. That's what COVID did to us. COVID brought more shopping online. It brought the deals to online shoppers versus in-store shoppers. And stores just started competing with themselves on a timeline over and over and over again. Oh, you're going to do Black Friday? Well, I'm going to do Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to do the day before Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to start the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So now, that's why I'm saying Black Friday is like a 2-week random online deal event. And let's be real, the deals aren't even that good. I'm not going to get excited about saving 20% on a pair of pajamas. I'm not going to do that. Hell, nowadays, I'm not even going to get excited about half price on a flat screen TV. You know why? I would rather get a Black Friday deal on gas for my car. How about 50% off groceries all day? That'd be great. Things have changed so much. Here we go again at Victoria's Secret. I cannot believe that crowds were lining up like this for Victoria's Secret deals back in the early aughts. I don't understand it.
Okay, we're halfway, guys. 9 minutes. I got 2 dogs and I got 2 nicks. So 4 videos more to get.
And then you would just grab everything and be like, I don't even know what I got. There were so many people. I don't even know what I got. I just grabbed it and ran. Oh my gosh. Those were the days. I miss this. I miss this so much.
All right, you gotta see the mayhem that's going on here at Walmart. People are like ripping stuff up. Like they open the packages and look, you can, I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. People are just like going at it. This is how the bedroom one was. That's why I left. And people were like going ape. I know, but people are going ape. Look at this. Wow. Make this a YouTube sensation out here. It's going viral.
Surfers are these solutions that people are rushing to get, as you can see. So we're gonna let you watch right now.
And see, this is 2018. This is 2018 again at Victoria's Secret. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that COVID single-handedly ruined Black Friday. I am just gonna say it. COVID single-handedly ruined Black Friday. And now again, I'm curious, in 2018, what was the sale that was going on? In 2018, what was the Black Friday deal at Victoria's Secret that had everybody going crazy?
Okay, I guess someone said go ahead and stop it and get going on Doug's, and that we had 15 minutes out of the 20, so that was long. So we'll get Doug's here. Another minute.
It's Doug 30, y'all. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. We've got all the news that you need for today. The biggest news I didn't want to pass up is that Fani Willis got nuked. All of her cases are now officially gone. And this is a warning to all of the happy patriots that some of you are really impatient, going, why is Trump getting arrested for all this stuff? It took a couple years, but the system itself worked many of those cases out on their own. So this one just ran out of gas and the wheels fall off of all of the Fani Willis indictments and RICO charges against Trump. They were all fraudulent. And so when you say, well, how come no one's getting arrested today? How come no one's getting arrested? Well, because you can't put together a half-aid case because it'll fall apart on you, just like Fani Willis did. So just so you know, there's probably some Democrats out there going, why wasn't Trump arrested? And all of those arrests eventually went away, so they're upset. But it means the system is working. Here's the news on Fani Willis. It says, major breaking prosecutors have officially dropped the 2020 election interference case against President Trump in Georgia. Huge win for Trump. The case brought by Fani Willis never should have been brought. They were trying to weaponize our entire system. So now we're going to get to the new news cycle. This is Frank Luntz. I'm going to introduce him here because he's a never Trumper, and he's coming out in defense of Trump, the Trump statement against the Democrats that were trying to get the military to disobey his commands.
My first reaction was, why the hell did you put this video out? I know you're trying to poke at him. Of course you don't obey an illegal order. Of course there are standards and processes that our military has followed, not just for decades, but for centuries.
So that's an indictment against the Democrats for making the video in the first place, pretending like they're doing a public service announcement to military saying, you don't have to obey an unlawful order. As I've said before, even with all of the Trump lawfare, timing is everything. In other words, why is it that after Trump announces that he's going to be president, do they bring up all these ancient cases against him? Because the timing ends up revealing everything, that they didn't care about rule of law. They didn't care about anything Trump did. It was when he announced he was running for president that they ran all of these indictments against him. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Fani Willis, all of these useful idiots that are just garbage tier politicians suddenly were weaponized and championed by the Democrat Party. So why now do the Democrats make this video? Military people like Mark Kelly, who's being investigated now, and Slotkin say, don't obey unlawful orders. Now, they're going to try to gaslight you and say, are you saying that they should obey unlawful orders? That's gaslighting. When they say, we're just stating a fact that you don't obey unlawful orders, they think you're stupid, as if it doesn't communicate something else with the timing of that video of when Trump has given the military lawful orders to work with ICE and remove illegal aliens. Are you catching the strategy now?
Medicare enrollment is now. You have till December 7th. And once that Medicare enrollment is done, those phones are going to clog up. You'll wish you'd have called Chapter, our sponsor, at 631-961-8696. I'm here in my backyard. This is where I'll be retiring. And I'll be calling Chapter to help me with Medicare because they're the only name that I trust. Many of you have already called Chapter, and you tell me that you trust them. Not only that, but the average caller saves about $1,600 per year. Now, I don't know about you, though I live in this palatial estate with a lovely dog spot, I still would use Chapter because I could use saving about $1,600 a year. Some of you have said you've saved as much as $3,600 a year. You can buy a lot of tacos at Taco Bell for that. So call my friends at Chapter. It's actually brave of them to sponsor this show because I've been canceled so many times, but it really helps this show out if you call 631-961-8696 and tell them Doug in Exile sent you.
That's a given. You're doing this just to create a political issue, and shame on you. Because there are men and women who are serving in Japan, in Korea, all over the globe, in the Middle East, in other Asian countries. And this is Thanksgiving, and they're not home. And they're sacrificing for this country. And you're playing politics at this point?
Yeah, I love that statement. So for Frank Luntz being a never Trumper or a not Trumper, that's a really good point that he makes. They're here on Thanksgiving, they're not at home. They're serving their country. And the Democrat Party's way of trying to help them is to get them to perform some kind of insurrection downstream and start disobeying orders. See, the politicians like Mark Kelly are never going to face consequences for that kind of action. But if a lower ranking soldier says, I'm not going to work with ICE because it's an unlawful command, and that's what they want, is all of these things to get court-martialed and go into our court proceedings and JAG lawyers, and they want them all to create a giant mess of Democrat servicemen disobeying Trump. Those soldiers will pay a price because they're not connected, rich Democrat politicians. So they're just useful idiots. Again, what socialism said was you have to break some eggs to make an omelet, and they're also called useful idiots for their agenda. Here's Scott Jennings on the same issue.
The FBI is now seeking interviews with the Democratic lawmakers who said to the military, if there is an illegal order, don't follow it. Aren't folks in the military not supposed to follow illegal orders?
So this is an issue where obviously you're going to have two groups of people that see this completely differently. I mean, when I saw that video, I was outraged for the president because it's obvious what the Democrats were trying to do. They were trying to create a narrative that the president had, in fact, given illegal orders. Nobody's yet named an illegal order. All the people in the video went on TV and got asked, what are the illegal orders?
I watched them ask Slotkin, and we did a video on it showing that exact interview. CNN themselves went to Slotkin and said, has Trump, to your knowledge, given any illegal orders yet? And she simply said no. So now you got to ask, what were they really hoping for? Because they don't believe that he actually has performed any illegal orders. Whatever they were implying, then you call them out on it. They're like, oh no, we would never say that, because they don't want to get in trouble.
None of them can name an illegal order unless the Slotkin, who's supposed to be the moderate and the smart person in that group, said, well, we have this movie, A Few Good Men. I mean, it was so unserious, but the point was clear. They're trying to program their political party, half the country, into believing that the president has given an illegal order, which has not happened. And so he's outraged. Every Republican that I know is outraged. The legalities of this, the investigatory part of this, I'm less sure about. But I'll tell you this, it's not good to treat the military like pawns. These Democrats shut down the government 43 days and didn't pay them. And now they're out here using them in this illegal order video, which is obviously political. I think some people, in our coalition are thinking they keep treating the military like pawns. It's very disrespectful to treat the military this way.
Yeah, treat them like pawns. And that's all they are to the Democrats. They're using this to their advantage, to their political advantage. It has nothing to do with military. It has nothing to do with illegal orders. They do not care about illegal orders. In fact, if it was illegal orders by Obama or Benghazi, or Hillary Clinton or Biden, they would say you got to fight the power and you got to disobey Biden. And then they'd run them all through a military tribunal. If they disobeyed Obama, every one of these soldiers that disobeyed what they thought was an illegal order would be busted. Here's my buddy Razorfist over on Twitter says Trump's move against Mark Kelly is genius. Chairman Mark hides from Arizona voters. By the way, they say he's a decorated astronaut, but he never went out in space. He's only an astronaut because his twin brother is an astronaut, and they do tests where one brother goes out in space and the one that stays at home. Because you're a twin, they can do tests on YouTube, but they never told you that about Mark Kelly. Mainstream media absolutely will not. As Chairman Mark hides from Arizona voters, aware his far left positions on everything from gun control to immigration are massively unpopular there. So this is how Mark Kelly's going to run on this in the next Arizona elections, is what you do is you say, look at Trump. He tried to get me arrested, so that you don't pay attention and you vote for him or don't vote for his opponent. You don't vote for him because he's trying to come after your guns because he's anti-Second Amendment and he's pro-open borders. Trump antagonizing him forces him to emerge and be accountable for his stances. That is the brilliance of it. Now, on the two-party system, this is a longer conversation, but we're going to start with Tucker Carlson on really bad strategy on this whole, I don't have to vote for this two-party system. I don't buy it at all, because the principle is the Republican Party is the best you've got. They're not perfect in any way. There's never been a perfect Republican Party. It has never once happened. Ronald Reagan let millions of illegals in. Okay, so remember that. The king Republican of all time was not exactly the best Republican either. Here's Tucker.
And on the Republican Party,
I can't play Tucker no more because I'll get taken down. Even if he's on another video, so that was the end of it on that one.
Big brother.
Alive in the flesh.
He's 2 years older than me and drives truck, and he got me this cool Mac hat because you drive a Mac truck. Tell him about your rig.
So it's a Mac Anthem, and it's a 12-speed rig, and I love it. It's my first Mac I've driven. So I was a Kenworth man before that. But
for people that don't know, what do you haul? What do you haul and where do you go?
Right now, it's not too exciting because I'm hauling the mail. I'm a contract mail carrier. I used to do exciting things like haul military to Alaska. I've hauled double tankers.
I'm going to skip that one, you guys. That's not really good.
Decided to try to pull a sneaky little stunt, a maneuver just before he took office and put it in the court of Mayor Eric Adams. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way and it totally backfired. And now Mamdani has a ticking time bomb waiting for him on day one. And this could completely destroy his credibility and show all the people that voted for him that he is an absolute two-faced liar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen, this is what I'm talking about. New York City sneaks in 16% pay raises to put on Zohran Mamdani's desk as a welcome gift. Now, the best part about this, as you'll see in a second, is this was a total accident. It was not supposed to go down this way, but they screwed up, and now Mamdani's credibility is completely on the line, and this could be an epic disaster that's going to blow up in his face no matter which way he turns. Because on one hand, he either enriches himself or he shuts it down and vetoes it and creates a massive amount of political enemies that will not have his back in the future. Now, this is a bill that was introduced by Councilwoman Natasha Williams, Democrat, who pushed the bill Tuesday to bump pay for the city's elected officials by more than 16%. The original plan for the bill had been to set up a speedy vote this month before Mamdani took office. A maneuver council members had to scuttle when they realized city law blocked them from voting on the pay raises during the post-election lame duck period. The hasty, confused pay push raised eyebrows among many insiders who gossiped that the city council was either trying to pull an end run around the incoming mayor or spare him an embarrassing early decision. Yeah, because if this was done on purpose, then this was an act of sabotage. Now, some are suspecting that they tried to get it passed before he took office, not to spare him the embarrassment, but because they're afraid that he would veto it. Because, I mean, seriously, how does the mayor-elect justify saying that the working man can't afford milk, they can't afford childcare, they're suffering, but he's going to sign off to give himself a $50,000 raise and a $20,000 raise to all the people below him? The potential new legislation would pad the paychecks of the mayor, public advocate, and borough presidents. Mamdani's salary as mayor would get a bump from the current $258,750 to $300,500. The city comptroller currently makes $210,000 The public advocate is paid $184,000 and borough presidents $180,000, and each would get 16% bumps in pay under the plan. The legislation comes after grousing by council members that their pay is stuck at levels set in 2016, as other city employees have seen hikes. And gosh, no wonder they're upset. I mean, can you blame them? I mean, can you imagine only making $250,000 a year as a city councilman in New York City? How do you expect these people to survive, making only 5 times the median household income? So Mamdani really needs to do something about this. Otherwise, he's not going to have a lot of friends and supporters amongst his fellow politicians in New York City. But the problem is, if he does decide to go through with this and sign this bill, it's really going to not look very good and make him look like a gigantic hypocrite after taking $1 million, $4 million from his voters to fund his transition team. He's already taken a lot of flack for that. And now his first order of business is to give himself and all the politicians a big pay raise. That is not a very good look, Mamdani. And I think he's probably going to veto this, to be honest with you. But either way, he loses. So to be honest with you, I'm happy either way. Now, speaking of being happy, ladies and gentlemen, there is a massive Black Friday sale going on right now at mypillow.com. You guys can get 50% off this.
Well, that's one of his. I got a second one. Will be the last one. I'll be on around 5 tomorrow.
He has made since he took office the second time, and this comes as a direct result of the terrorist attack that occurred on Wednesday, leaving 1 National Guardsman killed and 1 in critical condition. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you is going to have massive political consequences, and the left is going to absolutely melt down over this. But clearly Trump has had enough, and clearly he's ready to take the gloves off and start playing hardball. This is the policy decision that is going to send a shockwave through the entire country. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, and all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here long. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I voted for. Because under the Biden administration, with his completely open border policy, after the failed Afghanistan withdrawal, somewhere between 75,000 and 200,000 Afghans were led into this country, not vetted. Many of them are terrorists. Many of them are violent. And we just saw 2 days ago a terrorist attack 2 blocks away from the White House. And who was the attacker? None other than one of these refugees that was let in under the Biden administration. So the escalation of Trump's immigration policy is absolutely warranted and necessary. And get this, if you need any more evidence that Trump is done playing around and he's ready to take drastic action, then watch how he responds to this reporter that asked him, why are you blaming Biden for this attack?
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let him in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
Clearly, I think he doesn't care anymore. He's done playing games with the media, and he doesn't care how they spin this. He's doing what needs to be done. Now, this is another piece of information which just broke as I'm making this video. This is from the Department of Homeland Security. Termination of the designation of Haiti for temporary protected status. This is just in. I don't think anybody's reported on this yet. Summary: through this notice, the Department of Homeland Security newly announces that the Secretary of Homeland Security is terminating the designation of Haiti for temporary protected status because of interference by a federal district court judge. The designation of Haiti is set to expire on February 3rd, 2026, after reviewing country conditions and consulting with appropriate U.S. government agencies. The Secretary determined that Haiti no longer meets the conditions for the designation for temporary protected status. The Secretary, therefore, is newly terminating the temporary protected status designation of Haiti as required by statute. This termination is effective February 3rd, 2026, after February 3rd, 2026, nationals of Haiti who have been granted temporary protective status under Haiti's designation will no longer have temporary protected status. So the Department of Homeland Security under Kristi Noem is ready to play ball with the Trump agenda, and this is something I want to share with you guys that are going to probably say in the comment section that Trump doesn't have this authority, or that none of this stuff's going to go through because of a radical judge that's going to block it. I asked Grok whether or not Trump can pause immigration, and it's very clear that yes, as president, Donald Trump has the legal authority to pause or restrict immigration through executive actions, primarily under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the INA. Section 212F of the INA grants the president broad discretion to suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens if he determines their entry would be detrimental to the interests of the United States. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is exactly what I voted for. Trump ran on mass deportations, and the American people elected him with the popular vote. He won the popular vote campaigning on mass deportations. We watched under the Biden administration more illegals come into this country, many of which were criminals, cartels, gang members, and we're seeing the consequences. The attack that happened 2 days ago woke up a lot of people because we know these people are here. We've known that they're out there, but some people just have to see it to believe it, that this is detrimental to our country. We took in more illegals in 3 years than any nation has in world history. And I think it's a crying shame that Trump has to spend half of his time just undoing the damage that was caused under the Biden administration. The Afghanistan withdrawal was one of the biggest disasters in American history, and now we have American soldiers dead because of what they did. So if you want to say this is too drastic, or you want to say this is not going to help us in the midterms, I really don't care. I genuinely don't care. I want to see this type of attitude and action from the Trump administration, as I have since the moment he took office. It's time to turn the tables. It's time to go nuclear. It's time to stop caring what the Democrats say and what the mainstream media says, because nobody's listening to it anymore. Again, Trump won the popular vote, and the only thing that's going to hurt him is by trying to appease the people that hate him. What's going to help him is appeasing the people that elected him and stopping the massive drain on the American taxpayer, these millions of illegals that don't belong here receiving government benefits that we fund with our tax dollars, and stopping the massive Soros-created refugee pipeline that the Democrats set up to get these people here in the first place. America is done being screwed over. We're done funding and paying for people that don't belong here, that hate this country, that don't abide by our laws, that don't respect or adopt our culture, and are destroying us from the inside out. And we've all woken up to the fact that the Democrats' agenda is to get so many of these people here that they displace our voice so that we no longer matter. And we've seen it happen over decades, where they bring all these people in, and there's so many of them that now the politicians are no longer trying to appeal to the average, everyday working American. They're trying to appease the people that they brought here and displaced us with. So I think it's time to take the gloves off, stop worrying and stop caring about what the media says or what the Democrats say, call you a racist or a bigot, blah, 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 blah. We're done with that. That narrative collapsed. So it's time for radical, drastic action. And I'm glad to see Trump taking the gloves off. Now, if you agree, let me know down in the comments section. I always love to hear from you guys. As always, leave a like.
Okay, well, We got quite a bit out tonight. So, hey, Chris. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. So tomorrow will be about 5 or so. Regular time is 5 o'clock. Good to see you, Sharon. Make sure everybody sub to the backup channel, please, and just in case. And we'll see. Bless everybody. Remember, please hit the like. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Thanks, Kay. And we'll see you all tomorrow night on 5 or so, unless something breaks. Signing off, Chico Dude.